In this tutorial, I am going to walk you through my canvas tool that I have in my Crafty Design Studio. And what it is basically just like a general canvas that you can use if you want to do a mockup file, like master file, anything like that. I wouldn't necessarily use it as a design master file because I use the word builder for that, but it just really depends on what you're trying to do. But for mockups, this would be perfect. So I'm going to walk you through how I would set it up as a mockup file, all of the different functions, and just what you can do to go through and use this to the best of your ability. So I'm going to start right here by clicking canvas. It automatically presets to a 5" by 5". I'm going to change that to pixels and I'm going to do 2000 by 1500 because that is my normal Etsy size for my mockups. Once I've applied the size, I can click out of that, or if you have it open, you can just click back over here. And it will also let you, you know, turn the background transparent before you download and things like that. So don't forget, if you do need it transparent, to turn this off. Now it auto populates a text box here, and once you click on it, it will populate all of your different options of what you change, your different fonts. You can also upload your own fonts to change the size, styling, everything like that. You also have an option here to rotate it, but I tend to just rotate it right there. But if you need to go back in and you can't get it right back at 0, that's a great place to be able to type that. You do have the capability to do stroke outlines or drop shadows. Just be mindful of your font and your font's capabilities for that. So what I am going to do is I'm actually going to go in. You have here where you can upload an image, and I am going to pull in my test mockups. So this was my mockup preview. Hold on just a second. Let me unzip that mockup file because I forgot to do that. Because I want to show you how I do my mockups while I'm doing the tutorial. So I am going to go ahead and load that image in. Now this just lets you do one image at a time. I'm sure in later updates I'll have it like I do the other tools. And I'm going to go ahead and load all 3 of those. And I actually forgot that it will let me load all 3 onto the canvas, but what it won't do is like it won't show it over here. So I really don't want all 3 at one time, so I'm going to delete the other 2. I'm going to put this into this somewhat to the center because I can center this up. Then I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to move it. Now, once I have done that, over here you have a layers panel. This text here, this text needs to come down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the Crafty Alpha by dragging it under the text so that I can select what it was overlaid on and put that down here. Now, I have some shapes built in for you guys. I tend to do a rectangle. I come down here, drag it across the screen. It doesn't really matter if it's center or not as long as it fully fills it. And then it is going to go all the way to the back. So you can use that up here or you can drag it here. It really doesn't matter. And then you can also rename it here for like main page, and then you can do, full alpha, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and select my text. Now it was black, so we're going to go ahead and make it white. And then I'm just going to put, alpha set. I'll just put alpha set or camo alpha set. It really doesn't matter. It's just what you want to put it as. You can still drag that out if you would like. And then this is where you can center everything. Down here at arrange, we want to center that. I'm going to go ahead and center that. And I want to center and middle. And then I'm probably still going to bump it up a little bit because the middle puts it a little bit too close to down here. So click that center again. So just so you know, the text box disappears if you're not on actual editable text. So even though this looks like a text box, it's not, it's an image. So then this will pop back up. So you're not having to worry about like centering everything in the wrong direction because it disappears when you select an image. So the last thing that I would do is pull in a watermark, and I'm just going to pull in the one that I already have here. I'm holding Alt to drag. I'm going to pull that down to here, it really just needs to cover Crafty Alpha. I need the rectangle and the text towards the top. Sometimes dragging them just gets me irritated. So sometimes I'll just use my little thing here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity. Now, normally when I do this, it is a white, but this one is not a white one for what I have pulled in for here. But normally I just have like a white version or like a very light gray that I use. And then if you want to, you can duplicate the page. You're now on page 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to main page. And right here is where you click through your pages. So I'm going to click and rename full alpha. And what I want to get rid of is I tend to get rid of this. Going to get rid of that. I'm going to leave my mockup and I'm going to add an image file. And the image file that I need was for my test mockup here. And I am going to do this one. So I'm going to get rid of the Crafty Alpha. I'm going to resize this one to as big as I can get it full screen. And then I am going to push it back under the watermark. And then the last thing that I want to do, or that I would normally do, is just a very simple mockup series, is I would go ahead and duplicate. I'm going to duplicate the main page instead of the full alpha, and then I want to name it the example page. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave everything here. I'm just going to retype out example, or you could put example design. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on Crafty Alpha in the layers here. And I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to pull in the Blessed Nana. And I'm going to drag it up. And then I'm going to knock it to the back. So I want it to go until it's under the watermark. And now I have used the entire canvas to make a mock-up file. And what I would then do was that I would save the project and say, this is my mock-up. I'm just going to do it all lowercase. Mockup Master File. And then I'm going to click download. Because remember, I'm not storing anything on here. So as soon as I reset, it's going to reset you to the main page. And then if I click back into Canvas, all of your work is gone. So if you're having to leave the tool or you have to leave your desk for any reason, I like to go ahead and save it. No different than like Procreate or Photoshop crashing. And maybe sometimes it can recover the file and sometimes it can't. Then I can just load the project back in that I saved, which was the Mockup Master File. It opens it, it reads everything. It's actually going to pull all of the images as well back in here. My main page is there. I've got my example page. I've got my full alpha. So I hope that this tutorial helps. When you're ready to download your PNGs, you're going to download them one at a time here. I don't have it to where it's zipping them right now. And I want to see something. Now, I do have an undo button. I didn't know if you guys knew that. Okay, that is driving me insane. So I will work on that because it hasn't been doing it. I know it's just like reloading it per layer, but we don't want it to do that. So, but once we are done, then like I said, you can save the project, load it back in when you're ready to create another mockup, and then you don't have to start from scratch. So I would make a mockup master file, and I am going to make some for my school community, and I'll try to get some added in for the resources as well for any members that are using the tool. So I will do my best to get that done quickly for the resources tab, but it just won't be ready yet. But I'll go ahead and make the mockup master file like I have in Canva for you guys so that y'all can drag and drop what you need where. Now, this is not gonna do, like, snapping it or clipping it into a clipping mask or anything, but it will, help you to create some of your mock-ups quicker.